Do you smell that? It's the corned beef and cabbage and a freshly poured Guinness. Which means one thing. We're going to play a football game this week. Nebraska and Northwestern in Dublin. Let's break it down. It's hard to believe we're here, but we are here. This week, this Saturday, Nebraska will take on Northwestern in college football's very first game of the season. A Week 0 showdown between Big Ten West foes, Cornhuskers and Wildcats. All right, let's break it down. You know all the names. You know all the people that have transferred in to the program. You know all the new coaching staff on offense for Nebraska. But when they enter this game against Northwestern, I'm not sure you can expect what you saw in the first half last season in Lincoln. Last year, it was an offensive showcase for this Nebraska team. I believe it was 42-7 at half in favor of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. You've got so many new guys on offense. You've got so many new offensive philosophies that are being installed, and of course, a little bit of a week earlier with a Week 0 game. Nebraska's not going to put up 42 points in the first half like they did a week ago. It would not surprise me if this game is 17-9, 14-6, something like that at halftime. I think that for Nebraska, it's going to take a little bit to kind of get in the flow of things offensively. Defensively, they got a lot of guys coming back. There's some new pieces that they plugged in, but nothing like offense, where there's pretty much all new guys in a lot of the skill position. So I don't think it's going to be quite the fast start that you saw. And that was a game in the middle of the season. This is the very first game with a new scheme, with everything kind of coming in. But once they get into halftime and once they make those adjustments, I think Nebraska could pull away in the second half. What does Nebraska need to do to win? All right, let's first talk about the Cornhuskers. Track meet, throw it around. Northwestern on defense doesn't have the athletes in the secondary. For the most part, doesn't have the athletes in the linebacking core to keep up with your skilled players, right? You can go Trey Palmer. I mean, this week Casey Thompson said Trey Palmer is the fastest wide receiver I've ever had to throw to. So that's saying something, considering he played last year at the University of Texas. There's a lot of other weapons on that offense. Looking forward to how they do the wide back type of deal with Ramir Johnson. You go down the list of the athletes and the playmakers that Nebraska has on their offense that potentially could be really good players. Northwestern does not have the horses on defense to be able to keep up with them. So if I'm Nebraska and I'm Mark Whipple, I'm spreading 3 wide receivers out, spreading 4 wide receivers out. I'm motioning Ramir Johnson out into the slot. I'm mixing things up. I'm creating matchups that are favorable to me and not favorable to Northwestern. Because I think Northwestern's going to be better within the front, and maybe they'll do better against the run. But if I'm spreading things out and I'm pitching the ball around and I'm throwing it all over the place, I don't think Northwestern can match up with what Nebraska has and the depth that they have at the skill position. So that's what Nebraska needs to do. On defense for the Huskers, you need to come off the edge and never stop, right? Peter Skoronski, who no matter who he matches up with on that left tackle slot, whether it's O'Shawn Mathis or whether it's Garrett Nelson, it's going to be fun to watch all afternoon long. But on the other side, I think Nebraska might have the advantage over there on the edge. Whether it's Ryan Helinski or Brendan Sullivan, I think the other guy is at quarterback for Northwestern. No matter who it is, you got to get in his face all afternoon long, because the strength of this Northwestern team is going to be the physicality up front and running the football, right? Evan Hull, a 1,000-yard rusher from last year. You've got Cam Porter coming back as well. This is a team that's going to want to dominate time of possession. This is Northwestern I'm talking about. They're going to want to dominate time of possession. They're going to want to run the football, keep the ball out of the hands of Casey Thompson. That's how Northwestern can stay in this game. That's how Northwestern can keep this a game when we go to the fourth quarter. I'll get to the Cats in just a moment. But if I'm Northwestern, I'm coming off the edge all day long, because you're taking away, you got to bottle up that running game and then pressuring Ryan Helinski. You can't run the ball 60 or 70 times in a football game. They're going to have to pass it eventually, and getting in Ryan Helinski's face is going to be the first part of a good defensive game plan for Nebraska. Talking about the interior, that's another thing. Got to plug the middle, because I really don't see another way for Northwestern to be in this game late other than being physical, running between the tackles, and establishing a good running game. And it could happen. It very well could happen with Evan Hull and Cam Porter at running back. And if they can control time of possession, who knows? Nebraska turns it over a couple of times. You never know. But if I'm Nebraska, I want to be led by Ty Robinson in the middle, and I've got some of the better linebacking cores. I got some of the best linebackers in that group in the Big Ten. I want to have guys like Garrick Nelson and Henrich and all those guys flow to the football, plug up the middle. That's how I'm going to slow down this Northwestern team. On the other side of the ball for the Wildcats, I just mentioned it, you got to have a really good running game. Okay, if you want to have a shot, I don't think your passing game is going to be able to do it. I think, you're going to have to throw the ball in some places to push the ball down the field, pick up third downs, things like that. But this is a team that if Northwestern is going to be successful in this here football game, they're going to have to be physical and run it down Nebraska's throat. And just control time of possession. And here's another thing, got to score touchdowns, can't settle for field goals. That's how Northwestern, and you got to hope, hey, maybe your defense forces a couple of turnovers. Nebraska hasn't really gelled well together. Maybe things don't work out the way they should in game number 1, and it might take a couple more games for Nebraska to get into rhythm. That's the hope for Northwestern going into this game. I think that's the formula to win this game. If this game is 20-14, 17-13 going into the fourth quarter, that's a win for the Northwestern Wildcats, because that means they've controlled the time of possession, they've limited scoring opportunities for Nebraska, and they've run the ball pretty well. Time of possession, that whole thing that I talked about. Okay, when when Northwestern's defending Nebraska, look, that matchup when the Huskers have the ball, I think it's going to be tough. I think you gotta try to come after Casey Thompson, but he's got a lot of weapons to throw to, man. He's got a lot of weapons that he can distribute the ball to. And like I said before, I don't think Northwestern has the speed, the skill, the athleticism in the secondary to match up what the Huskers have on the offensive side of the ball. So if I'm on defense for Northwestern, I'm going to try to come after the passer. But once again, if I do that, I'm kind of leaving my DBs on an island. So you got to hope that those guys are better in the secondary and that they can have those one-on-one matchups. Maybe clogging up the running game, might help as well for this Northwestern team. Try to make them one-dimensional, and then maybe come after the quarterback. I don't have a lot of confidence in this Northwestern defense. That was one of the worst defenses in the Big Ten last year, and then losing Joseph, the safety that transferred to Notre Dame. They got some transfers up front, but overall, I'm not sure if this is a Northwestern defense that can keep up with what Nebraska has. I am pumped. I'm excited. It is game numero uno of the Big Ten and college football season. Come right back here on the Big Ten Ted YouTube channel right after the game is over, probably about 30 minutes, an hour after. I will have a reaction video of Nebraska and Northwestern, the first game of the Big Ten Ted season. I want to hear your thoughts below. Who do you think's going to win? Why? You think, does Northwestern have a shot? Or do you think Nebraska's going to run away with this early, just like they did last year in Lincoln? I'm Big Ten Ted. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.